Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon Geeky Sparkles sitting this video out. We're going to talk about Amazon, those layoffs, the gaming industry, and Lord of the Rings getting canceled. Unfortunately, it's not the Lord of the Rings TV series, which how that thing is still going is beyond me. But we're going to talk about their MMO. They're canceling that. They're definitely pivoting, and they said they're going to pull back on AAA games. They're going to focus on party games or less expensive games. And I guess the real shocker for a lot of people is that Amazon has been trying to compete with Steam for the last 15 years. And I know that the Fire Stick there for a while, they were pushing all kinds of really shitty mobile apps on that or mobile games on that. But I have to wonder now, with this coming out, that their end goal was to compete with Steam, and it did not work out for them. How long until Twitch gets gone? Because they probably bought Twitch as a component for that, right? Like, oh, we're going to make games. We're going to use Twitch streamers to get interest in games or bring gamers over to the Amazon platform, and then we're going to push those games off on the gamers, and it's not working out very well for them. They tried to sell, I remember the Fire TV stick or whatever, as a game console, like a really shitty game console that just played a bunch of, like I said, Android apps badly, but they had controllers and everything for it. I think I have a controller because we bought it when it first came out, and the only game that was worth playing on it was like Sonic. They had a couple of the Sonic games for it. But I'm like, yeah, I can literally play Sonic the Hedgehog on anything. I don't need a Fire Stick for that. But let's look into this, see what's going on. I really have not paid much attention at all to Amazon games. I don't care. I don't care. I play my games on Steam. I play a lot of games on GOG. I do a lot of retro gaming, and I can't say how or where I play those games because I don't want a certain company in Japan with a plumber mascot to come after me and sue me for millions of dollars. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Hey, we have changed the URL of what is our plus or minus club. It's now more.clownfishtv.com. If you're already subscribed, if you're already a member, it's not going to make a difference to you, but it's more.clownfishtv.com. And the reason I'm changing that is originally news.clownfishtv.com was for the newsletter. I'm going to move the notifications, I think, over to the main channel. So you guys will still get notified when we post videos. I got to set that up, though. And we're just going to use this Substack as basically our Patreon. Like, that's what we're doing. But we did post a Halloween podcast episode. If you go out there today, if you're a paid subscriber, it's out there. We reminisce about Halloween in the 1980s. So, check it out. If you're a subscriber, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I think you can unlock one of our episodes if you do a trial for 7 days. I think that's how it works. But thank you very much for the support. God knows we need it. YouTube is imploding. It's all burning down in real time. I did a video on that the other day. And so is the AAA gaming industry. So is everything. The entire tech industry is imploding right now. So this is coming from PC Gamer. As Amazon's game business crumbles, the public is surprised to discover that it was trying to compete with Steam all this time. Interesting. If you're wondering why it went wrong, former VP Ethan Evans might be able to shed some light on things. Okay. So on September 30th, 2016, they announced at TwitchCon it unveiled Breakaway, Crucible, New World, and it signaled a major push into the realm of big budget game development. Not quite a decade later, we find ourselves standing amidst the rubble of a once great ambition with a single question on our minds. What the hell went wrong? I don't remember any of those games. Breakaway, Crucible, New World. I haven't played them. Things definitely went wrong. First, Amazon halted development of Breakaway in 2018 after some iffy previews. Okay. Followed up that by not halting development of Crucible, even though it probably should have, given that Crucible ended up being unreleased just a few months after it went live. Okay, that's why I don't remember it. It was ultimately canned outright. And yesterday, New World, despite appearing to be at least a moderate success. Okay, I have heard of New World, come to think of it. which makes it a big success by Amazon standards, was brought to an end. Amazon said the game will continue to run until at least the end of 2026. Although it also said New World will remain available for purchase, a commitment that held up for about 12 hours, but active development is over. This is happening with all these MMOs now. It is expensive to keep them online forever. And this is the mindset, or has been the mindset, and I hope to God they're learning. But the mindset in the last 10 years has been to create games that are basically everlasting gobstoppers, like from Willy Wonka, where you're going to play this game forever. And only a few games have actually achieved that kind of success. And that would include, World of Warcraft. That would definitely include Fortnite. I would say even GTA 5. I think GTA 6 is probably going to be a sure thing at this point. Final Fantasy 14 started out badly, if I remember, and it finally was able to get pulled out of a tailspin. But yeah, I mean, there's so many fantastic RPGs back in the day. I was reminiscing about Ultima Online and how huge it was, and people have no idea. People today don't even know what Ultima was. Like, Ultima was a massive success. If you were a PC gamer back in the day, everybody knew what Ultima was. A new Ultima game was an event. And then when they came out with Ultima Online, it was, I believe at that point, one of the first, if not the first, MMORPGs. It was huge. It was a precursor to Warcraft and everything that came after that. And very, very big. It was a very, very big game. And now people don't remember what it is. But, they killed support for it, God, probably 15, 20 years ago, I think. And EA, I think, turned the servers over to a third party. I'm trying to remember the whole thing here. Anyway, I used to play it a lot. But a lot of people are hosting private shards now, private servers. And I think that's kind of the future of the MMO. I think it's very hard to maintain momentum forever on these kinds of games. I think you're better off releasing the game, and then if people want to, keep it alive and host it on their own servers, I think you should be allowed to do that. Like if, and I can't see it happening anytime soon, but if like Microsoft ended official support for Minecraft, there's so many damn servers out there. Like, Minecraft would live forever. And I think that's kind of how you have to handle it now. Various other whiffs have been interspersed throughout. Failed games, forgotten game stores, that sort of thing. But for me, the fates of those three games encapsulated Amazon's gaming misadventure. Big talk, half-assed execution, ugly endings, all that linked to yesterday's announcement of major layoffs at Amazon Games. Of course, there's no single answer to the question of what the hell went wrong, because obviously a lot of things did, but the end of New World and seemingly of Amazon's gaming ambitions as a whole bring to mind what former Prime Gaming Vice President Ethan Evans had to say about it earlier this year. Amazon's overarching goal, according to a LinkedIn post we reported on in February, was to disrupt Steam. They wanted to disrupt Steam. No problem, right? As Evans wrote on LinkedIn, we were at least 250 times bigger than Steam, and that's a pretty good starting point, but there was a problem. The 15-plus year-long attempt to challenge Steam started before I was VP of Prime Gaming, but we never cracked the code. No, not under my leadership or anyone else's. Twitch tried to break into the digital marketplace via acquisition and failed. Then it tried to build its own storefront into Twitch, which was also a bust. Then it built the cloud gaming service Luna. Oh yeah, I remember Luna. Vaguely, it was kind of like the Google Stadia for Amazon. It went unnoticed. Steam, meanwhile, continued its uncontested dominance of PC gaming, guided by Gabe Newell and a potato. On Amazon, we assumed that size and visibility would be enough to attract customers, but we underestimated the power of existing user habits. You also underestimate gamers being able to smell bullshit. They can smell bullshit. They know when some big corpo is going to come in and be like, we're going to change gaming. We have heard it so many damn times. These big companies are going to come in. We're going to change gaming. Look at Netflix. They fell on their ass too. Netflix is massive. Netflix is very good at being Netflix. Amazon is good at being Amazon. They just need to be Amazon, right? But they all want to get into video games. They don't want to chase that. Disney has tried multiple times to chase that, and they can't crack the codes. Now they're just like, you know what? We're going to team up with Epic Games, and we're going to Disney-fy Fortnite, and I don't think that's going to go very far either. They're all desperately trying to get into video games, kind of, Sorrento style, and they're clearly fake. They're clearly not gamers. They don't understand gamers. They don't understand how gamers think. And right now, the worst thing you can do is announce some big live service, get $300 million live service game. If you're like, hey, we're going to go back to making games like we did in the early 2000s, and they're self-contained and complete and under $50, I think you'll get their attention. Right? I think you'll get their attention. Just gamers are burnt out on the state of gaming, the predatory nature of gaming right now. And it used to be make good games. Gamers would buy them. Gamers would play them. Gamers would recommend them. And now everything feels so inorganic. I mean, to be fair, we had Nintendo Power back in the day, and that was just propaganda. But, it's so much worse now. And nobody wants Amazon to come in and be like, we're going to change gaming. And they all do that. They all talk big. They all talk big. They make these big and grandiose announcements. We're going to change the face of gaming. It's not even working for Microsoft now, right? So they announced apparently this new $1,500 console they're going to do, because a lot of people have been talking like, is this the end of Microsoft as a console, right? Or are they just going to be a platform? Are they going to try to compete with Steam? Well, I think if they do, they're going to run into the wood chipper. I think it's too late, right? And they keep jacking up these Game Pass prices. And we read an article last week talking about their margins. Like, Microsoft expects a 30% profit margin on gaming, and that is almost twice what the industry average is. To these corpos, it's all about looking at the bottom line on the spreadsheet. They don't give a shit about the games themselves, right? And it's kind of, Disney's kind of fallen into this too. We talked about before, like, if Disney could charge you to just, walk through an empty parking lot and just vacuum the money out of your pocket and not give you anything in return, they would do it. That's how all these corporations think. You're basically, you're pay pigs. You're not supposed to get anything in return. You're supposed to just give them money. No overhead. If you just give them money. And then the next gold rush, I'm using air quotes here, is going to be AI gaming. And I think AI is a fantastic tool, but it's also stupid. Everybody's like, it's artificial intelligence. This is going to kill us all. It's like, dude, it can't even figure out how to make a pizza right half the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fine. It's good at, LLMs are good at going through large amounts of data, information, websites, or whatever, and compositing an answer from that. But as far as generating new stuff, they can't. Just think of it as a really, really good search engine. But they're talking, we're going to use AI to make games now. I'm like, well, you're still going to need human oversight. And I wonder if players are going to reject those too. They're going to be like, yeah, it's just, we've got enough AI schlop on YouTube, and they might be like, yeah, you know what? We don't want it in our games too. We want the games to feel like they were made by a person. And a lot of these AAA titles are the most bland, sterile shit you could possibly think of. Like, you can tell this is just some corporation looking at a cash grab, right? So that's just my very short, I guess it was a very long take, but my very kind of bird's eye view of why they're failing. This guy said we needed to build something dramatically better. We failed, and we needed to validate our assumptions about our customers before starting to build. We never really did that. Just because you're big enough to build something doesn't mean people will use it. Yeah. The extent of Amazon's failure to crack the Steam nut is revealed in the fact that not only did it fail to compete, but lots of people didn't even know it was trying in the first place. That's not a good sign. Yeah. This is on Blue Sky. Of course, we're using Blue Sky, but there we go. Today, I learned Amazon had a platform competing against Steam. Amazon, you took everything from me. Steam, I don't even know who you are. I didn't know they were competing with Steam. Amazon was officially competing against Steam the whole time. Yeah, they all think they are. Microsoft thinks they are. And they're going to fail. It's too late. The only one I would say is even close, and it's like a distant second, it's probably GOG. And I like GOG because they archive old games, which we need more of. Rich says, I've had Steam since it was a thing, and this is quite literally the first time I've heard they have a game store. Like, I knew about New World or whatever their MMORPG was, but that's it. Yeah, I forgot all about Luna. It's weird. I forgot all about Luna, and I was talking about Amazon Prime. and the Fire Stick and how they're trying to push games on the Fire Stick. But this is another one of those, streaming game platform things. And I don't like streaming games. I don't. And again, this is where the AI is going to come into. I don't like that. I've talked about it before. I want to buy my game. I want to have the complete game on a hard copy somewhere. Ideally, you can plug it into the console and go, and the console does not have to be hooked to the internet. But again, this is what they want. They want to turn all of gaming into Netflix. Netflix, with all of its money, couldn't figure out gaming, and they just laid a whole bunch of people off too. So now the Lord of the Rings MMO is also dead, which I forgot they even had one, to be honest. It said Amazon's Lord of the Rings MMO has been canceled as part of the sweeping layoffs that hit the company's gaming business hard. So yeah, they confirmed it was walking away from making new content for its MMO, New World, amid huge layoffs. And that sparked concern for the Lord of the Rings MMO. Now one former Amazon game developer hit by the cut indicated the game has fallen by the wayside. Well, that's why I forgot they were working on it, because it's not out, and it's never coming out. This morning, I was part of the layoffs at Amazon Games, along with my incredibly talented peers on New World and our fledgling Lord of the Rings game. Y'all would have loved it. It's always tough to see such a strong team go through something like this. I've been lucky to work with some of the most skilled, creative, and kind developers I've ever met. The line, y'all would have loved it, does suggest Lord of the Rings is now dead. Neither Amazon nor Lord of the Rings rights holder Embracer have responded to IGN's request for comment. Instead, we're going to get Gollum 2. There we go. The Search for More Gollum. Isn't that the movie aren't they going to make a movie called The Search for More Gollum? The Search for More Money? We're going to, it's like, oh God. Although Lord of the Rings was announced in 2023, Amazon Games boss Christoph Hartmann told IGN it was still in the early days. We're still trying to find the hook, find the idea of what it is, because we just don't want to go and do the same thing over again. Well, then what? Then why? Why are you doing a Lord of the Rings MMO? Lord of the Rings has been done, and has been done better than Amazon can probably do it. While it's tempting sometimes with existing IP, and that's not the point of doing it, you got to find a fresh twist. Uh-oh. And we're still, I think, in that period where we really want to find out what could be the hook, what could be the thing which is different to all the other games out there. It's a little bit early. So yeah, it's done. In 2023, Embracer said it needs to exploit Lord of the Rings in a very significant fashion. Literally what they said, we need to exploit Lord of the Rings in a very significant fashion by turning it into one of the biggest gaming franchises in the world. Yeah, didn't they just have that Hobbit cozy game, and didn't that thing just implode spectacularly? Like, I think the Lord of the Rings quote-unquote franchise, which is disgusting to talk about Lord of the Rings in that way, I think. Right? Like, we got lucky. We got a couple of good movies out of it. But franchise, and that's how they all think, I think it's dead. I don't think anybody cares. It's like, I think it's deader than Star Wars. Like, nobody's talking about Lord of the Rings other than to roast the Amazon Prime show. And if it was based on that, if it was based on the Power of the Rings, or I forget what the fuck it's called. I don't care. I think that it would have been dead on arrival. Right? I mean, people wouldn't have trusted it anyway. Even if the game was good, even if Amazon put out a good Lord of the Rings game, people would be like, oh, Amazon, Lord of the Rings, that's a shit show. Did you see the streaming show? Yeah, we're not playing it. And that's exactly what would have happened. So it's probably a mercy killing, but yeah, very interesting stuff. Very interesting to see that they actually thought they could compete with Steam. No, what'll happen is they'll turn around and try to buy Steam. Is what'll happen. We'll be like, yeah, we'll just buy it then. Or Microsoft. Somebody will just go like, you know what? We'll just buy Steam, and we'll roll it into our infrastructure. I could totally see Microsoft being like, yeah, we'll just buy Steam. Why are we trying to compete with them? We'll just buy it. And that's scary. I don't want some big corporation buying Steam. So anyway, gonna wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.